What differentiates us is that our engineers in-house, our founder, are continually thinking, pushing, testing what our tech and innovation means. So I would say our company does a good job of keeping our blinders on to understand how to serve the customers versus, to your point, there's so many different things and there's new trends and fads of what that means. We still have to hold on to our ecosystem of we are creating products that are to help people recover. So we are going to stick in the what is physiological beneficial. And we can go through those types of modalities. And if it doesn't fit with that, it's kind of like scrap it, let's move on to the next thing. So as long as we stay in those pillars of, I would say, vibration, thermal, percussion, compression, and how to make it so that more and more people use it, we are the champions at doing that.
Hi, I'm Lauren Parsons.
And I'm Andy Jackson, and this is the All Well Co podcast.
Dive deep with us as leading experts share their unique perspectives on topics such as recovery, sleep, movement, and the latest innovations in the space.
So welcome to the All Well Co podcast starts. We're excited to have you here. Thanks for coming to join us. I know that you are heavily involved in strategic partnerships with Hyperice, but we may have I can't imagine there'll be many, but we may have a few listeners who don't know who or what Hyperice does. I wonder if you could just start and explain that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys, Andy and Lauren, so much for having me on this. I'm a big fan of it and how you guys are educating on the space. For context, I've been at Hyperice 11 years, so a decade of when we were pioneers in the space of what we call sports recovery. We were a sports recovery and movement enhancement technology company at first was our tagline, which for a lot of, I would say, subject matter experts in the space, they would understand that. For the consumer, I would say it has evolved to what we call wellness technology or wellness products for consumers. But the products themselves in Hyperice started as ways for athletes specifically to recover better and faster for their physical performance. And we have been able to test, innovate, and design and engineer and scale products that are all portable and consumer use, and allows for people now for all different walks of life to be able to feel better, really from a physiological perspective. So we're known for a few products. Hyperice started out with like an ice compression device, this premium version for pro athletes, and we evolved into mobility products like high intensity vibrating foam rollers and self-myofascial release tools to percussion massage devices, and then also things like our thermal technology and compression, which I definitely want to get into more with you guys. So for us, it's been a very exciting journey of continuing to cater and design for the world's pro athletes, but then also making it something sustainable and something that an everyday person can use in their way to live better. There's a lot of products out in the market, and I think for us, it's been our responsibility as a company to confit things that are really accessible. And that's something that me and my team spend a lot of time on. So excited to chat more about it with you guys today.
No, that's great because we got a lot of chiropractors, physical therapists, strength and conditioning coaches, etc., are all part of the community. So I'm sure they're going to be fascinated to learn more about how they can work together with Hyperice. So let's get in a bit about you though. So you've been there 11
Yeah.
years. What drew you into strategic partnerships at Hyperice?
Yeah. So when I joined the company, prior to that, I was studying sports management at the University of Texas. I thought I either wanted to be a athletic trainer or a sports agent, and one thing led to another, and I was introduced to the CEO at Hyperice when we had launched our ice compression device and our vibrating foam roller on Kickstarter. So it was really true startup phase. I was the sixth employee there, and we were trying to create an ecosystem of selling premium products. I mean, our vibrating foam roll at the time was $200. This is back in 2016. And my goal with the team at the time, and this was our small company, was how do we get this to the masses that to care about this? And based on just my savviness with sports management, being an athlete my whole life, I really cared about getting into the locker rooms and getting and working with sports medicine doctors, personal trainers, etc., to be able to understand it, create the science around it, and in turn, once they use it, they can evangelize it and help sells and markets it the best way. So the way we look at partnerships is not in a traditional sponsorship way, truly as a relationship where we're taking potentially prototypes or we're taking current products, learning how to iterate and innovate, and then actually use that as our education and our marketing language to cater to those really call them our gatekeepers as stakeholders in the space that are a lot of your listeners, for them to be able to understand it and recommend it to their customers and their
Yeah.
clients and their athletes.
So what does day to day look like? Especially now that, and you've grown. You've just told us about the early days, but boy, you guys have grown. You've matured as a brand. You've got some very cool products, which we'll get into a little bit later. So, what does day to day look like for you?
Day to day, like right now, my team and I oversee. So we used to have a fitness group. We used to have a golf team. We used to have a hospitality team. We've realized that it's become very much like a Venn diagram. So my team and I oversee all things wellness that you would break down into your high value, low price gym, your premium gyms like a Lifetime or Equinox, your boutique fitness, your hotels and spas. So like we are an in room and also we also deliver to spas and new spaces. Our team sells to airport lounges. We're in Delta One lounges with our products. Um, and then golf clubs, even if you look at it from like the country club setting, really anywhere where someone is wanting to spend their time. So that's from travel to their daily routine
Yeah.
to
That's a good way
even
to look.
hospitality suites at events. We activate at Super Bowl for the fans so that they can get an IV drip before going to the big game. Um, our team does that. So we're having a lot of fun defining what wellness means for our company and our sales and partnership channel of that. I think it can be used really overused, as a lot of people say. And I really agree with that. So I think we're just trying to have more fun with it and make it more accessible because we have so much credibility from all the pro teams and leagues using our
Right.
products from the early days that we need to be able to bridge that gap in ways to meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
So the day to day is simply put is kind of understanding what's up ahead in like just culture and then bringing it back to our team to make sure that our products are there for as many customers as possible. And in turn, that allows customers to be able to learn and try out our products to hopefully then want to purchase them for their home as part of their daily routine. So it's kind of this like cycle of how do we get reach all those touch points.
Yeah. A little bit of an experiential type of thing then to get it
Yep,
in.
totally.
So you kind of touched on this already, but I'm really interested. So wellness brands, like the space is really crowded.
Mhm.
What do you believe Hyperice does differently to differentiate in a market in a market like this?
So that's a fun question for us. Couple things. We have some great partnerships. Like we have a great partnership with Nike. We
Yep.
created a product with them called the Hyper Boot that launched last year. It was quite a crowd pleaser in seeing that you had a North Star like a Nike that holds a lot of brand credibility and is just a space for all across all sports. Um, and we leaned on them to help tell the story and just the credibility of our tech. What differentiates us is that our engineers in house, our founder, are continually thinking, pushing, testing what our tech and innovation means. So I would say our company does a good job of keeping our blinders on to understand how to serve the customers versus to your point, there's so many different things and there's new trends and fads of what that means. We still have to hold on to our ecosystem of we are creating products that are to help people recover. So we are going to stick in the what is physiological beneficial. And we can go through those types of modalities. And if it doesn't fit with that, it's kind of like scrap it, let's move on to the next thing. So as long as we stay in those pillars of I would say vibration, thermal, percussion, compression, and how to make it so that more and more people use it. We are the champions at doing that. And so if we, it as simple as it may seem, that keeps it so that our complexity can be remaining on just how to innovate and make those products less expensive, but still premium quality, being able to offer different things for different people's needs. Um, that to me was what differentiates us. And then I would say as a brand, it kind of goes back to we want to educate on the tech and quality of it first. And then you have some of those lower funnel marketing opportunities where you see people in fun experiences like a Diplo's Run Club or a festival using our products. But I think it really starts with this very tech forward, very modern looking feel that people can understand the quality, appreciate it from seeing a social post to seeing it at like when I saw you guys at HFA and they like, wow, your booth, and they can totally understand that feeling of it. And then it kind of trickles from there, building that relationship.
Yeah, and I'm excited to get into the Nike bit, um, here shortly. And, it's interesting you mentioned Nike because you've expanded from elite athlete recovery to now everyday wellness. So, driving the consumer behavior standpoint, driving the consumer, wellness play, kind of like Nike, right? Where every body is an athlete. So, now that you've gotten into the consumer space, where do you think the category is going next, or where are you taking it next?
The fruits of our labor like finally came to fruition, I would say, when over 10 years ago, my team and I were going and training trainers on our products to be used as part of, let's say, the fitness routine or wellness routine. We are drinking out of fire hose of the demand of people wanting, quote unquote, a recovery room corner space. So we are spending as much time possible to scale that and make it as usable in the space. All industry leaders are figuring out spaces to how to either monetize it, how to make it something that people are going to stay longer in their facilities, their hotels, their rooms, lounges, etc., and then continue to make it a new habit. So that's like the broad vision that I would see in the next years, like as simple as I'm seeing, that's a challenge to create new habits for consumers globally. And the way to do that is, I think, meeting people where they're at. And we're really fortunate of how portable our products are. Price point wise, it's quite economical. I think that's our focus for it is like, how do we make it more accessible price point wise? Because we still have that conversation of, I don't need this. This is just for pro athletes. I see them on the sidelines. These look so legitimate. How do I need this? So it's spending it and catering it in a certain way, whether it's like having our products on a menu item at a social club is the conversation that we're having to pitch and really internalize and get the staff members who are then offering it as a service excited about it as much as they are trying to meet their sales quota or keeping members in an attrition, things like that. So usage for us is the most important thing. And where the space is then going to go from there is we see this across the board. It's not that customers aren't loyal. It's just that customers want options, obviously. They want to make their choice. They're smarter about it. Customers are listening to your podcasts, not just industry leaders. So they're making their decisions faster and better because they're more educated on it. So for us, it's been fortunate enough that we've been kind of subliminally hammering home the benefits and the science behind our tech. But people are like, oh, yeah, no brainer. I totally get it. I understand what self-myofascial release means, or I know what blood flow increase in circulation is beneficial to me for. So for us, I would say a couple things is compression specifically on the Normatex is something that I really want to become a like champion home theme for us. Percussion and specifically with our Hypervolt line is something that is just so easy to have in your pocket that makes such a difference. So I think like treat as we always joke about in the office, we should treat it like flossing your teeth. Like how do we get people to like intentionally go and do that? And if we can do those things and can just keep hammering home more consumer usage, that will help us win in the future, I think. And I think a lot of brands need to keep having their ears to the ground and knowing what customers are searching for because they're kind of they're cherry picking stuff. Like our GPs right now know our products, but they're not going to be recommending our products necessarily. It's really from social media ads. So the education part of it, I think, is actually needs to get buttoned up a little bit more to the end consumer too.
Mm.
It's interesting you start talking about education because obviously we've got a lot of professionals on here who'll be looking at, okay, how do I partner with someone like Hyperice? I've
Mhm.
got 10 physical therapy practices. I've got 4 chiropractic studios, etc. And I want to be some sort of brand, or I've got a big gym chain. You talked about golf. One of our big partners is invited clubs who have got 350 clubs, etc. Around there. So when you evaluate working with someone like them as a potential partner, is there anything non-obvious or a signal that tells them and you that this is potentially going to work?
Mm, yeah. Um, so I really like to start when I talk to, let's say, a facility, for example, you're saying, Andy, is I really love to hear the stories of the customers that have been there the longest and the new people that came in. So like longest lifetime value person that's the biggest advocate and the new person that came in and why. And We truly are a company, even though we sell into hospitality, we are in the hospitality business to cater to our customers. Um, and the biggest hurdle is to understand how people can use it and don't know how to start it. My father's 78 years old, and he's my best guinea pig to be like, pick up and grab the products, Dad. Why would you use it? I know it's not the sexiest option, but I need to know if I can show him on why he needs to use it every day. Then I can have our partners and our clients, the people that are installing it, do it. So the education piece part of it is we have loads of CEUs and hours of it, but we really spend a lot of time with the leaders within these facilities, understanding who kind of like their star staff members are. I think the word of mouth marketing of this is actually the best momentum. These products are such a feel good product. Really, anyone can use them. And it depends on them to be our stakeholders to actually really push and drive our products being used day to day. You can become certified in our products, but if you're not excited about it, it's going to gather dust like anything else in a facility. So I would say half of it is actually interior design for us now. We're like figuring out, is there a key fob so that you can come and access this room? Are people being encouraged to use it? Are they being charged for it? And why should they use it? And we have to work with the cultures within these facilities. Some of them have very heavy standard brand guidelines that we need to follow in aesthetics. We're fortunately a very modern, beautiful, sleek aesthetic. But if let's say we're going to some like kind of light and spa feeling, like we have to adjust and accommodate to that for it to feel right. We have a recovery room in the Fairmont Century City, for example, and they wanted a full room Hyperice branded floor to ceiling. That's not going to work in a place like an EOS gym or a Barry's boot camp where they want to have it like their signature brand. It's on us to be able to fit our tech first, follow our partner's brand to then deliver to that customer's brand. We have to be really thoughtful about it because I think sometimes you want to force feed too much. The brand's in there, just hammer it home, and you have to play nice. And that's like part of what a true partnership is for us.
I'm a member at one of the Lifetimes, and
Okay.
I'm really intrigued and interested to see how you worked with them in a partnership. Because I know you've got big partnerships with F45 and other people like that, but
Mhm.
in Lifetime, they've got it just off the gym. There's a desk where people there sort out your various treatments and personal training, etc. But you basically book in to go to use Normatec, for example, and they've got the beds there and with Normatec, etc. What I found about that makes it feel higher quality. It makes it feel like I'm going to get somebody who's going to educate me, and then someone will take you through, and it's next to those hydro massage
Mm,
beds and the
Mhm.
cryo thing or whatever.
mhm.
That to me makes it feel like it's more exclusive, but could also make it intimidating to some people. So
Yeah.
how do you educate these partnerships? How do you get them to scale and
Yeah.
get people to become sort of aware that this is why you do it? Is this a lot of the education with the trainers and the staff? What are you doing?
Yeah. I'll use Lifetime as a perfect example. It's a fun one for us. There's micro communities I would call in Lifetime. Such a big gym, so many different offerings. There's the group fitness people. Lifetime's in a fun place where we see more members coming in, maybe extra day or staying an extra hour or so on average to use our products. But that's not all the same group. So, you have your alpha, which is their like group fitness
Yeah.
strength training style modality. That coach is going to cue and talk and recommend our recovery room different than the personal trainer who is someone with a weight loss goal that's having a one-to-one experience. So we always tier out the micro groups. I hate to say it. We're going to favor it. A group style fitness thing is going to have this group thing culture of like, we're going to do this all together afterwards versus the personal training one. So we break it out by that. And actually, too, is I think we also start with the people that really the low hanging fruit is actually the people who don't understand like what good pain versus bad pain is. And understanding people like this is a type of massage. Like we're communicating in such a layman's terms way of saying, this is probably gonna make you feel good. 15 minutes. I'm gonna start on a low pressure and I'll increase it just like you would go get a massage. That type of starting to understand feeling is someone goes, what's the soreness I have? Like those are the people that still don't know what soft tissue hygiene means. So the low hanging fruit are the people that I would say the most novice. And then you choose the micro groups that are like the diehards in there. Outside of that, then the education part of it, things like Lifetime, they now sponsor their own and do the event logistics for their own marathon. That is just ubiquitous for us now. That is just like autonomous where people are just coming in, no brainer, waiting in line, questioning it. So it's the new customers, the newbies, I would say, that you want to figure out how you're going to handhold. And we as a brand are not in those facilities day to day. Yes, we pop in and do secret shopping and see what they're doing. But for us, I would say it's leaning on who are the rock star trainers, coaches, GMs that we use. And then we're sharing that case study across those networks, so across the Lifetime and sharing with them. And they're seeing that growth from that too. And they see the benefit of it because they want to maximize usage, obviously, but we don't want to force feed it. But I think there's always a missed opportunity of thinking if someone is timid about it, like choose the most timid people, to your point, Andy. Choose the people who have no freaking
Mhm.
idea of how to get in there. That's the ones that we want to get into.
So, Star, have you got a team of master trainers that deliver live training, or is it all online training for these types of groups? How does your training work?
We do. We have partners with AFA. NASM has been a really great partner of ours. From there, we lean on them to help with master trainings. Our CUs are online. So it depends where if one of our clients wants to do a specific protocol way and we want to get it certified, we do that. I think the in-person trainings are awesome. I would say they're personally the best way to do it is it's a blend of a little bit more product knowledge, sales, recommendation talk, and then some CEU work.
And
Um,
you're using third-party experts to do that. You've not got your own Hyperice master trainer team who are running around the country.
no, third
No, no.
third party
Okay.
experts that we
Yeah.
work with it.
Yeah. Great.
And we
Great.
like that way too, I mean, my background's in kines. I can do it the same, but I think it's very important to remove the bias from it, from having a third party. So it allows us to lean on them to even challenge us and play a little bit of devil's
Now we can
advocate
get
of like,
that. We can get that in the notes at the end here, as to say if people want to become trained in it and want to understand, we can add that from you. We can sort that later
perfect,
to say where the people should go. So yeah.
Yeah.
perfect. Okay.
I want to take us back to the Nike partnership. So the Hyper Boot. How did it come together? Why did it make strategic sense for both brands? And kind of is that future forecasting, foreshadowing about where Hyperice is headed next?
Yeah. So it's been a long time coming. Our founder specifically has admired the story and how they market, deliver, create as a brand and consumer product. And then also to pro athletes. I think there's a lot of similarities to how we market and how we get to pros first, and then you trickle down into the fans of that sport. Training's an interesting thing, though, where outside of, let's say, CrossFit, let's say, are now a high rocks athlete, like pro athletes in training for your everyday life, is a different type of story than like a lot of brands know how to figure out. I think HFA is a perfect example of like those are the products that are for everyday people and for their training, or maybe it's a piece of equipment to their sport. The Nike conversation's been going on for years now. And for us, they were looking for a partner that would bring the right technology to they have with the swoosh and what they could design. They have a great innovation team. They have great foresight into it. They have great customer insights of it. For them, though, it was a great advantage to lean on us with the engineering in-house and the product development we have, and we could lean on them for the swoosh. And I think for us, as you saw with the Hyperboot, that wearable type of technology makes it more portable and more accessible for most people. And then it's dependent on both of us and Nike to be able to educate our customers and market in a way. So we're having a lot of fun experimenting and testing what that type of education and marketing looks like to resonate with. And we're still doing that today, where it's like, how many Hyperboot try-ons did we get this month? And how are we talking about it for it to resonate with people to want to purchase it? Is it used for travel? Is it used for pre and post training? So it's been, as great as our companies are, it's very much a humbling experience to produce a new piece of products for the masses and see how it resonates with them. So yes, to your question about our partnership has been going on for some years, but now we're looking at how we can continue to make it more wearable and accessible with them leaning on the swoosh brand that is just such a megaphone for us as a company with really smart tech.
Yeah, sure. So when you look 6 to 12 months down the road at a partnership, what metrics or signals tell you that it was successful?
For us, it would be, I mean, I start with anything from usage. So knowing how many people tried or used it, because we kind of sit in this B2B to B2C play, tracking in gyms how many people tried on a product like a Hyperboot or how many people used a Normatec device. That for us is a really great signal, is number one. Number two would be why. I would say, are they doing it based on, are they in regular clothes or are they training from it? And where at? So for Hyperboot, for example, we've done try-ons at the Delta One lounges. Most customers there
Yeah.
are like, you're trying to meet them where they're at on a traveling and they're like, oh, I'm interested in this. I get this. And now we see on social 3 months later, I see people sitting in first class or even economy wearing the hyper boots because they understand it's like a compression sock, but it's even better than a
That's
compression
a great
sock.
idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's this test of it. I think we double click always, to your point, like a KPI of it was like we double click on the ones where there's more usage at this place than this place by like
Mm.
3 usages. And as simple as that is 3 more, which means like we should be leaning in that direction. So it could seem archaic, but I think that intentionality is allowing us to stay focused in terms of how to market and deliver to the customer. We're still challenging on that. I think, there's a lot of hype and there's so many options. Like you have 30 minutes to spare at a airport lounge, let's say. Like what's the difference in them using that versus going to get a cup of coffee? Like, so we
Yeah.
also want to lean on partners
Yeah.
for those insights too, of can we stack different modalities and kind of let the customer bubble up and decide what they want to pick from. So things like bundling our products with partners in the space, like we work with Whoop, for example, and like you can track your usage of a Normatec in the Whoop app. That type of data is so compelling to us because though their users love to improve their green score. We like to talk about it in that way. And it's like we can genuinely say it improves your recovery. So the second piece to that is that we want to lean on partners, and I would say other brand partners, and like a Nike too, of knowing what is your secret sauce, who are the customers that are double clicking on it. And it's sometimes a little different. For us at Hyperice, we've skewed a little bit like household income over 250, people that are weekend warriors, maybe skewed a little male. But we see at all these events, we see typically more women trying on our products and using it. And like, what's the difference of that? Are they buying then the products on our .com or are they buying from Amazon? So I think we're always trying to understand where the customer's at. And it just it comes down to usage is what
Mm.
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, the action.
That
Sure.
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
So one of the things we've been doing recently is we've been getting some of our community to actually ask questions to the guest beforehand. So I went to the CEO of Therabody just to
Mhm.
ask this next question. I'm just teasing. I'm only joking. I'm just joking. No,
Here we go.
when you hear the question, you'll understand the joke. Where do you think recovery and performance tech is heading in the next 3 to 5 years? And, what bets are you at Hyperice making that others might be missing? Now you'll understand the joke.
No, I understand the joke. Yeah. Where we might be missing. So I think I'll start with this. Uh, This is for probably like your diehard listeners. I think a lot of us have followed the biohacking things. Like
Mhm.
you could spend all of your income, go into debt. You could do all the things and to quote unquote live like this longevity. Um, I we overcomplicate it with so many products and things that I sometimes like to test with a lot of researches of knowing like, are the fundamentals in place? And when we go to Kelly and Juliet Starrett from the Ready State, I really enjoyed their last book on this. And I talk about it, and it's really simplicity of like the nutrition, sleep, plus some strength training and steps in a day. And as much as I want to keep selling people and doing hard stuff and building it, I would really like the industry to look at how to make it more simplified and talking about our products. I think fortunately for us, we are true hardware. So it's an advantage to us where there's a lot of apps out there. And I think there's enough in the space when it comes to a app to know how to do things that I would like us to see off of our phone to go enjoy it. We, for example, have an app to recommend you how to use the product. So outside of teaching someone how to use it, I'm okay with someone not using our app all the time. I would like them to be able to either meditate while they're using our products or
Yeah.
socializing with friends while doing it. I think you can overeducate and take too much of someone's time. And I see a lot of brands doing that where they just want to keep you in their ecosystem for so long. And I really want to give some more ownership and power back to individuals and their customers of knowing what they like or don't like. And I think where the space to that point is also going is we see the cold plunges and saunas of the world. Those type of modalities have been around for thousands and thousands of years. I think the price point of those should end up becoming more economical. I think our product should be. So there's a little bit of a race to the bottom that I want us to be cautious of as business leaders of let's not just make another product to make it less expensive. Let's understand who are the ones making it the best, continue with that craft, and other brands should be sticking in their lanes is what I would kindly like to say if I was a
Yeah.
politician for the industry is you don't want to race to the bottom on this. You want to let the leaders keep leading in that space because it overcomplicates it for the customer. And then at the end of the day, then the customers are just spending too much money and then they're burnt out on all the stuff that was being marketed
That's
to them and
really-
sold to them.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I really like a theme that you pulled out, which is, is this a core benefit to me or is this a fringe benefit, right? I mean, we could, like you said, we could go into debt by buying
Yeah.
every little bit of supplement or every little bit
Yeah.
of, this for stretching, this for, so it's just, is this a core benefit, fundamentally speaking, scientifically speaking, or is this fringe?
Mhm.
So I like that theme that you
Yeah,
pulled
and
through.
what I've liked about particularly your partnership with Nike, Nike's a good example for you because what I see now is that personally, putting my joke aside, I think you've got the best brand name. It's one and one makes two. So I think
Oh,
Hyperice is such a
yeah.
cool brand name, and that makes it really obvious in terms of what you're doing. But whether I'm a professional or I'm a consumer, and I think linking yourself to Nike's a great example. They've managed to hold their price point. They've got $80 sneakers to $500 sneakers,
Yeah.
but they're not getting pushed down to 50, 60, 70. I think that's what you're saying. I was also very intrigued about the whole ice bath. It's been
Mm.
around for thousands of years. It's got trendy. I'm now starting to see some rumors about them ending up on landfills.
Mhm.
People are not using them at home as much. I think they're still getting used pretty well. And although it's weird at Lifetime, I see a lot of people in the sauna, a lot of people in the steam room. I rarely see people in the cold plunge. Very, very rare that I see that. So,
Yep.
so let me just jump into one other thing
Yeah.
then. So how is AI and data starting to influence what you guys are doing, whether it be product, partnerships, personalization? How's AI affecting you?
The personalization I think is really interesting. I don't know if you saw OpenAI they have their health consumer division now. You will see basically OpenAI where you could go in and say, recommend me on how to use a Hyperice product. So something that I want to see brands do is challenging with the AIs of the world of these agentic models to either own it or to work with the Anthropics, OpenAI, Geminis of the world to be able to, you can take your SEO optimization and to make sure that that education is properly prescribed and recommended. It's not going to always be foolproof. This goes back to as customers have more ownership and more understanding of it. But that's one piece we look at, right? So we don't make medical claims, but we do know our products can help with medical conditions. That is we are very strict on our type of recommendation for it. Please consult a doctor, etc. So I think the AI piece of it will be coming down to how to protect to make sure education is properly provided. I also am leaning on it to understand usage more because we know people that use it. I would like to know more of that type of person who is using it, what type of day. Are they injured? Are they coming in from jet lag? So I think as we see more apps become more merged or synergistic, that type of information should be able to be pulled out through AI faster instead of us archaically pulling data. So knowing the customers more down to, I think sometimes a brand can recommend the wrong product in their portfolio of products. We should be able to personalize it more. So I would say on the agentic models, and I would also say on the brand side of them deciding on which customers should get what products can be even better and more prescriptive using AI.
And in terms of, do you do this sort of work where you just put in, why should I use a Normatec boot? I'm a chiropractor. Why should I use a Normatec boot? I'm ladies on GLP and I'm
Yeah,
exercising too much. Are you doing that as a company?
we're thinking about it and we're doing it. We're trying to recommend the right way. But like a perfect example of that is one of our most underrated product is our Normatec hips. They're separate from our leg compression boots, but if you work and teach this to customers that using the Normatec hips, which is a compression and it's a massage release of the glutes, chances are that will help reduce lower back pain, which 80% of Americans are suffering from at one point in their adult life. That is something we don't want to come across as a pain reliever, but that type of benefit is not talked about. But most people go, oh, I'm in pain. I'm just going to get the boots. Price point on those, they're a bigger product to use. It's like the Cadillac of our SKUs. But I would like to know that people that are searching for lower back pain or we're talking about with partners and they're getting that information, I want them to look at Normatec Hip and consider that first before anything. And that comes down to our gym partners of them knowing the information within their logs of like a client coming in and they're checking the box on they need to work on this or they need to work on this. That type of information, once it's approved to be shared type of data, that's something that those trainers, Hyperice, should be recommending. Again, that specific product. It's Normatec Hip versus the legs. It's our heat and vibration back device over a roller. Like those are the things where we could just get way, way more fine tune on it. And we'll see we'll see happiness go up is what I would
much more
say.
prescriptive.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm in, whatever business I've got, everybody's looking for that next little bit of additional revenue. So do you provide, for our listeners, I've got a business, I do pretty well with my personal training clients, but I've still got some hours free, etc. How can I generate revenue from Hyperice? How can I use your products to create new treatments? Do you provide that type of support?
We do. We honestly, case by case, we want to build a business model with all of our partners, whether it's one location or they have hundreds of locations. We want to build the right business model. Our goal is that every client, customer, member coming through a door should be using and trying our product. But that's either, are they seeing it in signage and the front desk is telling them about it, or is a trainer, or is a staff member, is it a chiropractor telling it? Our sales and marketing team, like that's something that we have to cater, craft, and design. And we spend a lot of our time doing that specifically per customer. Like that's where, and it kind of comes down to we're a hospitality business that we do it for a business partner because our business partners are going to cater it the right way to their end member.
Great.
Nice. I like that it's case by case.
Yeah,
And not like
yeah.
here's our one sheet, right?
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
you were employee 6 at Hyperice, you mentioned.
Yes.
What is one hard-earned lesson about partnerships that you feel like you could only learn by doing it? What's one thing that happened that you're like,
Yeah.
well, I had to learn that one by doing it?
So we've done a lot, I would say, between sports leagues, gym partners, like brand partners, real estate partners in terms of if you think of like an Equinox or Lifetime. I've been fortunate that I've spent time physically in this, even like during COVID times, to understand the ecosystem of who's coming in. Like, who is the person buying it? One of my first jobs was bartending, and also I was selling shoes at the Nike Town LA. It's closed now. My job was to understand product knowledge of the customers coming in. That store was the one where celebrities had to come in with their ID when they did a Nike special sneaker drop, and you show it. And you knew when a celebrity was coming in, their shoe size, what they wanted, how they wanted it delivered. And I personally can get excited. Like when we did these things with Sports League, I'm pinching myself. I was studying this in undergrad in sports management. Like I am working with the NBA and the MLB, and they're telling you how it is and how partners work with them. I have learned to build and be genuinely confident in that. I know our customer, but it's requires a lot of conversations and going and seeing in person who their customers are and how you can merge the two together. I don't think we should force feed it. Like our logo is great, but it's not our logo that's going to move the needle. It's someone using our product. And that requires us selling internally to those league partnerships for them to understand it. And that took a lot of time. And I've learned that the hard way, that you learn as you go, and everyone is too. And so it's on you as the representative of the company to be able to tell that story to other people and push them to be storytellers of your brand too. It's not just fingers crossed, let's hope that customers like this type thing. I think you can really control your own destiny as a company, but it's just being really bullish and caring about it and knowing what those moments are that people are going to be like, remember it in their lives. And I think that's really fun to do. And so it's a long-winded way of me saying that I think it just comes down to like having sometimes not so much of a formal conversation with our brand partners, but knowing how they show up, how their teams are activating, how their teams are looking at innovation, how they're doing things, and not in like a panel sense. Like it would be like a podcast and you could have 3 other brand partners and we would all get takeaways of how stuff is approved and how quickly we're moving, or do we have budget for it? Like those are the conversations we candidly need to have more of, that I learned the hard way and I learned really well that need to be done in order to actually bring value into our industry. And I think that if you don't have that North Star, like what's the value we're trying to bring here, then it's going to fall flat. Like I would bet on that bullishly. And I'm very like take pride in that we like always are trying to bring value to the end consumer in that sense.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So we always like to wrap up. We've come to the end of this. It's gone
Yeah.
so quickly. Thank you so much for
That
your
went
time.
really
Yeah.
fast.
It went really fast.
Yeah.
We always like to wrap up with the same question with every guest, and that
Yeah.
is to touch on the core values of our podcast, which are strength, kindness, and perspective.
Love it.
And so is there someone in your life who embodies these values, someone maybe who has deeply influenced or inspired your journey that you'd love to give a shout out to today?
Yeah. So I would love to give a shout out to, I was with one of my very good colleagues. His name's John Ward. He's the founder of The Assembly, which is a phenomenal network of industry leaders across the spaces. So C-suite and founders alike and entrepreneurs. He's been a longtime friend. He was formerly at Plunge and he saw a gap in the space of building a community like this. Him and I talk about the things of just like, he's a phenomenal EQ. And I think combined with his long-term experience, he wasn't always in the health and wellness space. He was selling security tech in a past life. He's someone that I think truly, truly cares and inspires me and reminds me that we're not crazy to be like, no, that's not bringing the right value. Like that's not right. There's no such thing as perfect, but we can sit for hours trying to harp on something that is going to bring value into this world for the people that we were selling to 10 plus years ago and that we like want to get back to. So I think someone that's just been an OG in the space for me, I would shout him out is John Ward.